Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. This is Joshua Loetta with KBG Insurance and Financial, downtown Spokane, Washington. I wanted to reach out and start a new video here for off-road vehicle insurance, part one. Off-road vehicle season is here. Whether you have snowmobiles, ATVs, motorcycles, dirt bikes, golf carts are kind of winding down with golf season coming to an end. But really, just want to reach out and offer value and inform people on what goes into a off-road vehicle policy. Right now, this coverage I'll be going over with you and options will be with Safeco Insurance, but really gives you an in-depth overview of what exactly is included in a policy and what should I be looking for. So a lot of times you'll just go to your agent and say, hey, I just bought a ATV or a snowmobile and I need it covered, and they'll just give you coverage. But really like to inform people and help you understand what to look for. So I want to break it down with coverages to start with. Coverages, liability limits. Having an off-road vehicle, I always recommend the minimum 250, 500,000, just because you have a little bit less protection than say in a vehicle. And with the weather, whether you're in the snow, the roads, you want to make sure you're protected. In worst case scenario, you're killed or injured in an accident. You want to have at least a 250, 500. That is what we recommend in our office. And I'll break down at the end, to show you the price difference between these options. There really isn't much, and the discounts that you can receive, and to make sure that you do talk to your insurance agent about to receive. You'll see that having the highest limits, you're going to get the maximum discount where it'll really the price will be the same. So that's what I recommend liability wise. Property damage limits, I always recommend the minimum $50,000. Now I know there are motorcycles and snowmobiles and ATVs, even side by sides these days that are really expensive. So $100,000, that'd be a great limit there as well. But minimum 50,000 is what I recommend. That would cover too if you hit something or another vehicle or a building or worst case scenario, things like that. So guest passenger limits, this is a great coverage as well, and it is mandatory on the Safeco off-road vehicle policies. Guest passenger limits are exactly what they sound. If you have anybody riding with you on your motorcycle, your snowmobile, ATV, your side-by-side, four-wheeler, anything like that, and they're injured as well, then again, I recommend the minimum 250,500, just like your liability limits above. Worst case scenario, I mean, something happens and you're in an accident and they're injured or killed and their family tries to come after you and sue you, or they do. You want to make sure that you're able to cover their medical expenses, and worst case scenario that they're not able to go back to work, you will be liable for a loss of wages for up to a certain amount of years. So make sure you always have proper coverage there. I'm sure a lot of people out there, if you have a side-by-side or, snowmobile, any off-road vehicle, you are, riding with people and having people ride with you pretty often. So good coverage there to look out for, and make sure you have proper limits. Combined single limit of liability. Again, this is, you can take 300,000 or 500,000 and it just combines the policy. So you see here 250,000, 500,000. What that means is 250,000 per person and then 500,000 per policy, the maximum that would be paid out. So if you look here, 300,000 does give you more than that 250,000. But then if you go here, the 500,000 combined single limit max, that includes your property damage and your liability. So it does give you more than that 250,000 per person. And again, I'll go through the discounts at the bottom to show you that that really is price-wise. There isn't much difference between getting the max coverage, and a lot of times insurance companies, especially Safeco, they reward you for having the higher limits in the price. So make sure you watch out for that as well. Medical payments, just as it sounds, if you're injured, break your arm, your leg, anything like that, you'd have these limits in medical payments coverage. I always recommend the highest at 10,000, just because you're more apt to get in an accident and be injured and have to go to the hospital if you're in a snowmobile accident, right? I mean, chances are something may be injured versus being in a car and getting a little fender bender, a little less likelihood there. But I always recommend 10,000. That'll go straight towards your medical payments. Underinsured motorist bodily injury limits. Now this is very important here. Being in insurance, we see a lot of people who on the road who don't have insurance, right? They're undercovered. Maybe they have minimum liability limits of 25,000, 50,000. Well, let's say you're worth, you're making six figures a year, you have a nice house, maybe some assets and a 401k. You want to make sure all that is covered. If somebody were to hit you and didn't have insurance or didn't have enough, especially with the off-road vehicles. So again, I always recommend the minimum coverage of 250,500. If you do a combined single limits like you do on your liability coverage, I would do the same on your underinsured motorist coverage. And what that is, like I said, if somebody hits you and doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough to cover the damages they cause, these limits in your policy will provide up to 500,000, for example, if you chose that limit. And then combined single limit, and these are damage limits as well. You can choose 50,000, 100,000, all the way up. So I always recommend the minimum of 50,000 here, just like on your liability coverage over here and property damage, minimum of 50,000 there. So physical damage coverages gets included here with your deductible. So comprehensive. Just like it sounds, obviously, if you have glass on your vehicle, vandalism, storm damage, you hit a deer, anything like that would be comprehensive, and these are the deductibles you can choose. So you pay this out of pocket, for example, 100, and then your insurance company pays the rest. Collision deductibles, if you're in an accident, this covers your bike to get replaced or your off-road vehicle if you do have collision coverage. And then again, you pay the first amount here of 100 to 1,000, whichever you choose, and the insurance company pays the rest. Safety writing, apparel coverage, original equipment, custom parts and equipment. I'll go through that here in the next section and just kind of give you an idea what does come in a Safeco policy, along with the roadside assistance package as well. So those coverages here, and I'm going to go through really quick just to show you what does come with the policy on an off-road vehicle. So safety riding apparel, which is a great coverage, it does come included. Your customer safety apparel such as boots, chest protectors, or braces is damaged in a collision or is not covered after a theft. Safeco pays up to $1,000 per rider with a $500 limit on helmets with no deductible. So depending on how many riders you have, say there's 2 riders with you, you would each get up to $1,000 if you're in if there's any damage caused from a collision accident. So nice to have some, of your riding apparel covered there. And, I know a lot of times jackets and helmets and things like that are expensive. So nice to know you have up to some coverage there as well. Custom parts and equipment, if you have aftermarket parts, this is a nice coverage that comes with these policies as well with Safeco Insurance. So with physical damage coverage, your customers automatically get up to $3,000 in coverage for custom parts and equipment such as safety apparel, racks, skid plates, bumpers, or fenders. Limits up to $20,000 are also available. So depending on how much coverage you have in your vehicles, I know I have some family friends that have snowmobiles and they're upwards of worth $20,000. So nice to know the coverages that do come with your policy. And then also if you need to increase them to make sure you are restored, if your worst case scenario you total lost your bike. So OEM parts protection, if a covered loss includes damage to original equipment, manufacturer OEM parts, we'll use OEM parts when available to repair or replace damaged parts. So they'll always try and replace it with the manufactured parts and not aftermarket parts, which is nice. So with a off-road type vehicle, you want to make sure the best parts get put on there, not some cheap parts. So another thing to watch out for your current insurance policy, or if you're looking for one. Roadside assistance with trip interruption. This is a very important coverage that I always recommend getting on off-road policies, just because you never know what could happen. Easy to get a flat tire, your vehicle breaks down. Say you're up in the mountains, on a snowmobile. It's nice to have these coverages here. And so with help 24 hours a day anywhere in the U.S. with no out-of-pocket expenses, roadside assistance is an optional coverage that provides additional peace of mind for clients while they're on the road. So coverage includes, towing expenses to the nearest qualified repair facility, trip interruption coverage for riders more than 100 miles away from home. And what that includes is with trip interruption coverage, if you pay a premium for roadside assistance coverage, we will pay up to $400 per occurrence for lodging, meals, and transportation costs when a covered comprehensive or collision loss occurs more than 100 miles from your primary residence. So that'd be a nice help there if you go on a long motorcycle ride with some friends and something happens. You have up to $400 for lodging and expenses. So nice coverage to have there that's included with the roadside assistance. Labor at the time and location of disablement due to electrical or mechanical breakdown, dead battery, flat tire, lack of essential fluid, for example, fuel, oil, or water. No cost out of pocket. Safeco will pay for a company to come out and get that taken care of for you. So I want to get in here now into the discount section. So discounts obviously is a key part of insurance, right? You have your bundle, your auto and home. You have continuous coverage, insurance. Your liability limits are 100, 300, for example. These are all discounts that play a part in your insurance. So being in insurance and talking to multiple people every day, a lot of people don't understand the concept that if you have continuous coverage, your insurance rates tend to get cheaper over time. If you have insurance, you let it lapse, start it again, or you keep switching companies. Those all play a factor in your rate. And so what we always recommend is, Obviously, keep your insurance as long as you can. Keep it continuous. If you do go to shop, make sure you start your new policy on the day that you cancel your other one. Make sure you always have continuous coverage so you can receive those discounts. So, with the off-road policies, the discounts here, if you have a safety course or instructor certificate, that gives you a 10% credit. If you have a multi-cycle, if you have more than one off-road vehicle, so a motorcycle, ATV, snowmobile, golf cart, depending on how many vehicles you have and how many people are on the policy, these are the discounts you can receive here, upwards of 20%. So as you can see, those discounts start to add up. A companion policy, so any supporting Safeco personal lines, property and casualty insurance product, if you add it on top of your off-road vehicles, such as auto, for example, home insurance, things like that. If you're part of an association, there's a multiple list of associations here. I mean, American Motorcycle Association, BMW Motorcycle Owners, Goldwing Touring, Harley Owners Group. That's a very popular one. A safety course or instructor. That's another popular one. So any of these can get you a 5% discount as well. You can come down here, prior insurance, like I mentioned before. If you have prior off-road vehicle insurance, up to a 5-day gap between the effective date of our policy and the prior insurance expiration date is allowable. So what that means is if you have a lapse in coverage for up to 5 days, you will still receive this discount, and that's an 18% discount. Have a homeowner's discount, you have that with Safeco, you have a 22% discount. Garaging discount, if you keep your off-road vehicle in storage overnight and it's secured, that's a 5% discount. Any type of recovery device you have on your off-road vehicle, it's a 10% discount. Paid in full is a 13% discount if you pay your whole policy term in full for the year. Anti-lock brakes is a 5%. Claims-free renewal. This policy has been in effect for at least 12 months and no at-fault claims have been paid during the previous term. That's a 5% discount. And then experience is a big one. How long have you been riding your off-road vehicle? Each rider, depending on how long you've ridden, these are the discounts you can receive here. And as you can see, up to 13%. Ownership, any vehicle the named insured has owned for 2 or more calendar years is a 5%. And then the advanced quote credit, which is very popular. If you start your policy 7 days ahead from getting a quote. So if you were to get a quote today from KBG Insurance and Financial for a motorcycle, we'd start your policy 7 days from today, which would be, let's say October 7th, and then you receive a 6% discount there. So all in all, as you see, if you started adding up these discounts, your policy would pretty much be free, right? So Safeco maximizes their discounts, and they give you a maximum discount of 45%. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you take all this and add it up, and a lot of this, for you, average riders out there who have motorcycles, snowmobiles, or maybe you're just getting into one, you'll qualify for a lot of these discounts. And so it's a good thing to be aware of, and make sure when you go to get your insurance policy or the one you have now, ask your current agent saying, hey, what are the discounts that I'm missing, or what are some discounts that I'm qualified for? Have them go through the product guide with you, because then I guarantee you'll be surprised how many discounts that you can have added to your policies. So again, I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Like to add value, and we're starting to get into YouTube and videos, and starting this campaign and videos of off-road vehicle insurance. So we'll be posting one a day, touching on a few topics of each company that we work with. Today was with Safeco Insurance. I know it's a lot of information to give you, but if you have any questions, please let us know. We'd love to help you with your off-road vehicles, such as motorcycles, ATVs, snowmobiles, things of that nature. So hope you have a great day. Appreciate you watching and appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.